welcome back. Hope you're all doing well. I am Maunika. As we have discussed, people moving from their places in search of better opportunities is called migration. Now, let us continue and check what the diverse types of migration are, how it affects the living conditions of the migrants. Learning outcomes. You will be able to define migration, reasons for migration, classify the migration pattern, explain the problems of the migrants at their destination, explain the similarities and dissimilarities between the impacts of internal and international migration. Keywords. Migration. The process of people travelling to a new place to live, usually to find work and live there temporarily or permanently. Immigration. The action of coming to live permanently in a foreign country. Emigration. The process of leaving a country permanently and going to live in another one. Seasonal migration. The movement of people from one place or another on seasonal basis. Border. A line separating two countries or other area. Observe the concept map. Migration arises out of various social, economic and political reasons. According to the National Census surveys, every fourth person in India is a migrant. Migration might be within the state or outside. It can be rural to urban migration, rural to urban migration, international migration. Some people migrate from rural to rural. Often the period of stay is less than 6 months. Migration is of two types, internal migration and international migration. Internal migration happens in two ways. Rural to rural migration, rural to urban migration. International migrations are immigrations and emigrations. Rural to rural migration, a large section of rural workers migrate for a short duration and particularly due to distress caused in rural areas. They are mainly agricultural labourers or marginal farmers in their places of origin and mostly belong to low income households, Dalits and Adivasis. The National Commission of Rural Labour, in its report in 1990s, found that uneven development and regional disparity triggered and accelerated seasonal migration. In some tribal areas, displacement of people for construction of dams and mining have increased distress seasonal migration. Rural-urban migration. People migrate from rural areas mainly due to insufficient employment opportunities and inadequate income available in rural employment. People also migrate with the expectation of higher income and more opportunity for family members and maybe better services. Most urban migrants have to work as laborers and find employment in unorganized sector. They could be working as hawkers, painters, repair persons, rickshaw pullers, construction labor, etc. People from rural areas move to cities and towns to work in industry and other service activities. This has been recognized as a natural reason to increase their income and for better family prospects. They have opportunities for education, new jobs, and to acquire new skills. Many move to urban areas to explore and not having adequate employment opportunities in the rural areas. For these people, living conditions in slums, in towns and cities are worse because space is cramped and even basic facilities such as drinking water and sanitation aren't available. There is no job security and decent income that they were aspiring for. They continue to live as daily workers. Many families have residences both at their origin, native place, and at the destination. They shift between the two places depending on the work and seasons. Migration does not necessarily involve movement of all members of the family. Urban migrants use different job searching mechanisms depending upon their skills and educational qualifications. International migration. The movement of people across international borders for settlement is called international migration. Leaving one's own country to settle in another country is emigration. Coming from another country and settling in our country is immigration. International migration from India is of two types. People with technical skills and professional expertise have migrated to countries such as USA, Canada, United Kingdom, Australia and other developed countries. IT professionals, doctors and management professionals are example of this type. The second type of international migration is unskilled and semi-skilled workers migrating to oil exporting countries of West Asia on temporary contracts. Almost all these workers come back after a specific period depending on the employment situations in the destination countries. Every year, more than 3 lakh workers migrate to West Asia. Nearly 3/5 of workers going to West Asia are from Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. Considerable section of these workers are engaged in construction projects, maintenance, services, transport and telecommunications. What happens when people migrate? Migrant laborers spend more on food as they cannot get food grains from fair prices shops at their workplaces. As they live in harsh circumstances and unhygienic conditions, they suffer from health problems and are prone to disease. Those working in quarries, brickyards, construction sites and mines suffer from body ache, sunstroke, skin irritation and lung diseases. When employers do not follow safety measures, accidents in industrial areas and construction sites are also common. Migrants are not able to access various health and family care programs as they do not belong to the organized sector. Sometimes, when families migrate, children accompanying their parents do not have preschool facilities. Grown-up children are not able to continue their studies at their parents' new workplaces. Sometimes, schools in their native place refuse to take them again when they come back. When males leave their families, it is also a major challenge for women who have to take care of all the responsibilities of the family and elderly people who need care. Migration leaves a considerable mark on the migrants also. Exposure to different environments, stress associated with it, food available and social atmosphere leave a deep impact on migrants. In some regions of India, nearly one-third of households depend on the remittances sent by their migrant members. Majority of the seasonal migrants either send money or bring back savings. Some migrants might take up jobs in the destination, acquire skills required in the destination area, become aware of how to get regular jobs and migrate regularly or permanently. Monitoring of international migration. The Immigration Act 1983 is the Indian law governing migration and employment of Indians abroad. It also lays out conditions to safeguard the interests of workers emigrating for the employment. Embassies set up by the Indian government in different countries are expected to follow the legal procedures and protect the welfare of the international migrants as given in the Immigration Act. So, in this video, we understood about reasons for migration, classification of migration pattern, problems of the migrants at their destinations, similarities and dissimilarities between the impacts of internal and international migration.